Hello and welcome to the season premiere of the ZTV Sports Report, your home for all things Akron Zips athletics. I'm your host, Zach Leininger, and with me is my brand new co-host, Megan Williams. We're kicking things off today, taking a look at both the football and volleyball teams before wrapping things up with coverage on men's and women's soccer. Don't go anywhere because the ZTV Sports Report starts now. With the football season underway, let's take it over to Davion, who took a look at their recent game against Kentucky.
Today, I'll be giving you highlights on the game between our Akron Zips and Kentucky Wildcats. Akron unfortunately lost 35-3, but kept momentum during the game. Starting off, number 24, Darian Lewis caught the first fumble in the end zone while his teammates took down number 85, Jordan Dingle of the Kentucky Wildcats. Tyson Durant, who was number 28 of our Akron Zips, caught an interception throw from the Kentucky Wildcats quarterback, Devin Leary. Even though our Zips tried to sack the Wildcats quarterback, he was able to get his throw to his running back, number 1, Ray Davis, who scored a touchdown. Number 40, Brian McCoy, was able to take down Devin Leary, making his pass incomplete. Number 11, Devontae Golden Nelson of our Akron Zips was able to get number 0, Demi Somo Carnbay of the Wildcats out of bounds a little past the 10-yard line right before he was able to make a touchdown. This is Davion Mosley giving you your ZTV Sports Report.
Thank you, Davion. Well, Megan, it's an unfortunate loss there for the Zips, but I just feel like we couldn't have expected too much more from them. What were your thoughts on this game?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Kentucky being an SEC school and coming into that game with 2 wins already against really difficult opponents just set it up where the Zips were going to have a hard time, but they did really well considering. Yeah,
they definitely did a great job there with with a sack from CJ Nanali there. They also were able to come away with 2 fumble recoveries and a pick, just keeping themselves in the game. Mm-hmm. They were even though Kentucky's they're a big school, a good program. Mm-hmm. The Zips were finding some success. They got down to the red zone quite a few times here. Noah Perez unfortunately missed on 2 field goals, but he was able to hit on a field goal in the third. It just gave him a few points to put on the board.
Yeah.
What have your thoughts been, on the football team as a whole?
Yeah. So for instance, DJ Irons has been playing very well this season with 595 passing yards and 138 rushing yards. So he's just been performing very well as our quarterback. Mm-hmm. And our running back, Lorenzo Lineguard, has 147 yards receiving as well as 191 yards rushing. So those two, if they're playing well, we can do really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Irons has been here, a few years in the program here. Mm-hmm. And, it seems like every year he seemed to have gotten better. Like he's always been a dominant runner. In this Kentucky game, for instance, he had 50 yards there. I guess he lost 20, so he only ends up with 30. But still, 30 yards normally is leading the team. He's leading the team in rushing yards, and he really sets him up for success. And it seems like his passing has gotten better, especially having guys to throw to. Josiah Gathings, Alex Adams. There seems to be a lot of bright spots in this offense, and it just feels like as the team gets more comfortable with each other, that it seems like things will pick up. Because we did have a tough loss to start the season with against Temple, but they came back and in a tough, nail-biting fashion, they found themselves up against Morgan State, and quickly they fell behind. But then thanks to amazing job from the Zips defense, they were able to come away with with a win there, set them up for this game, and they were able to find some success against some good teams, and that puts them in a pretty good spot moving forward. You have anything else to add on the football team?
I think it's just we need to have more games against harder opponents because that makes you better.
Mm-hmm.
And since we're showing that we can hold our own against hard teams, I think the rest of our season should be pretty good.
Yeah, and the one point that just came to me was Coach Jim Moorhead. It's his second season as the football coach here, and it seems like he's been able to, in a way, help kind of turn things around for the Zips.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got the right mindset, and it seems like he's, this team's taking a step in the right direction. And, I guess we can just hope that, Jim Moorhead, the more this team just kind of clicks and works together, I feel like we can see some success, at least probably a couple more wins in the rest of the season. Yeah. So from there, I think we can wrap up with football. So let's switch over to volleyball and take it over to Megan, who covered the recent game against Harvard.
Hi everyone, it's Megan with the ZTV Sports Report, and today I will be talking about the volleyball team. I am covering their most recent game today, so let's see how they are doing. In their most recent game, the Zips were at home taking on Harvard. Akron came out on top this game with a 3-2 victory. After losing the first two sets, the Zips rallied and won the last three sets of this match. With a score of 32-30 and 25-22 for the first two sets, you can see that the Zips were putting up a good fight. After these two close losses, the Zips found the energy they needed to come back and win the match. Key players for the Zips this game were Faith Johnson, who had a team high of 27 kills, while also getting 8 digs, 3 aces, and 2 blocks. Vanessa Del Rio played very well too, earning herself a team high of 20 digs, while adding on 4 aces and 3 assists. Aleska Vidaskova had a great game as well, with a team high of 59 assists and 6 aces, while also earning 9 digs. For Harvard, Ashley Wong got a team high of 27 assists and also earned 12 digs, 11 kills, and 1 ace. Lindsay Zhang played well this game too, getting her own team high of 16 digs while also earning 7 assists. As the Zips head into conference play, they'll look to build momentum throughout the rest of the season. This has been Megan with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips!
Thank you, Megan. Well, Megan, that was a quality win there against a pretty good team in Harvard. What have your thoughts been about how the volleyball team has done thus far?
Yeah, so our volleyball team has a record already of 6-7, which is a lot better than this time last year. Speaking of last year, they only had 6 wins on the entire season. In this Harvard game specifically, they had to deal with a lot of really good players on the other team, and we actually lost the first 2 sets of this match, and then we came back, and that just shows that we really have that grit and determination to come back, even if we've lost a couple sets.
Yeah, and I feel like the thing that helps them there is just a lot of their returning players here. We have Faith Johnson, Carliana Jones, Ellen Kinnard. They've just been, those 3 specifically, among others, they've been great for, the Zips team thus far. And they really helped this team, especially along with Tyson Norton coming into his second year as a head coach. Just seems like this team is kind of, they're buying in more to the system, and they're gelling more together. And, as we talked about, as you mentioned, the 6 wins they have, they're 6-7 right now in the season. And when we look back at last season, they only were able to win, 6 games in total, and not even being halfway through the season and they already have the same number of wins. Things are definitely looking up for the Zips team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with those players you just mentioned. Faith Johnson, for instance, already has 184 kills on the season, and it's not even mid-season.
Mm-hmm.
And Liska Vilaskova has 412 assists and 34 aces. So if those two players, as well as the rest of the team, just keeps getting better and better, we will have a really good team on our hands.
Yeah, it just seems like as we've studied these Zips teams, over the last, I guess we can say the last year, just seems like the culture has been, it seems like the culture has been, just a lot of younger teams, as we talked about with when we had the football team we were talking about earlier, Jim Moorhead in his second season. We got volleyball here, Tyson Norton in his second year, with a lot of these returning players. And, we're going to get to women's soccer later, but Jen Simonetti and that team has been younger. And it just seems like as a whole, Akron has just been, rebuilding in a lot of areas, and just feels like we're going to start to see some more success coming down the line. Do you have anything else, to add on this volleyball team?
I mean, with the fact that we've had 2 conference games and we're split, I think that also just shows that we might be able to do a lot better in conference play this year, because last year in conference play, I think we only had 3 wins. Yeah,
and that brings up a good point with conference play is, we get into next week, big games against Kent State. Those are just always some, back and forth, highly anticipated games. And, I think it's really going to strengthen our team. And, just hopefully as this team continues to work and develop together, just hopefully we'll see this team pick up some more wins along the way and, hopefully be competing for a championship at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that, that'll be all for volleyball. We're going to transition to our first commercial break here. Stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
Welcome back. With football and volleyball out of the way, we're going to turn now to men's soccer and take it over to Matt, who covered the recent matchup against Notre Dame.
What is good, everyone? Matt here, and I will be talking about the men's recent soccer game against Notre Dame. The game featured 2 top 15 teams who went head-to-head at First Energy Stadium. The Zips statistically dominated Notre Dame, but were unable to get the win as the two sides played towards a 0-0 draw. Akron played extremely aggressive, recording 23 shots with 12 on goal while holding the Irish to only 3 shots without a shot on goal. It really looked like a tight game from here. The Akron Zips did everything in their power to score a goal. Jason Shukaluk, Guayan Chong, and Joseph Paulus all attempted to score a goal, but all 3 were saved courtesy of Notre Dame goalie Brian Dowd. 25 minutes into the game, Shukaluk took another shot, but nothing got past Dowd. For the remainder of the period, Stefan Dobrijevic took his place and started off fierce. From there, Dobrijevic took a shot, but once again got saved by Dowd, who was blocking shots, making it a competitive game. Dowd wrapped up the game, saving 12 shots, leaving the Zips scoreless. Though neither team scored a point, hopefully the Zips can take the dub next game. This is Matt with your ZTV Sports Report, and as always, go Zips.
Thank you, Matt. Looking at this game against Notre Dame, coming into this, we knew it was going to be a tight, competitive game, just because 2 teams being ranked in the top 10. The Zips are in the top 3 now. We just knew it was going to be back and forth, and that's exactly what we got. It ended in a 0-0 tie, and seems like it's not exactly what we would expect from the Zips, but we also have to remember that Notre Dame has, they've played really well on defense the whole season. I mean, they had 3 ties coming into this. They seem to, be able to match a lot with the other teams. And again, being a top 10 team, that's kind of to be expected. And, with this game, even though Notre Dame has been really good on defense, the Zips seemingly had their way in this game. I mean, we don't have the, possession time But we know just from watching the game, looking at it, that the Zips, they controlled the tempo as they've done in a lot of games. They kept the ball on Notre Dame's side of the field the majority of the game. And, just looking from what we saw here, just 12 shots on goal. None of them were able to fall, but, just from being there, it was just such a roller coaster of emotions, just up and down the whole game. Just so many shots flying around the goal. And, Notre Dame's goalie, Brian Dowd, he did a great job. He had 12 saves, blocked all of it, and he really kept them in a good position. Just from there, what are your initial thoughts on how the men's team has been thus far?
Yeah, I have to say that this team is just playing so cohesively as a group that it's really hard for any team to really play as well as them, because they have a record so far of 5 wins and 4 ties, I believe, and they haven't lost yet.
Yeah.
And especially with some of those ties where the other team may have scored first, we still came back and scored, making it a tie.
Yeah.
So I believe that our team is just so well at playing under pressure that even if we start losing, we would still be able to come back, because they just have so much confidence in themselves and each other that they just know that it's going to be fine, even if they go down by 1.
Yeah, and I think we can accredit that a lot to just this team as a whole. Jared Embick entering his 11th season as this team's head coach, and especially him being his 11th season as head coach. It's really kept the Zips pretty level-headed. They haven't really had to switch things up. They've been able to be pretty consistent over the years. And this team with players like Will Jackson, Joseph Paulus, Joel Sangwa, Sam Toyega, they seem to be in a way an anomaly from what we see in a lot of these other sports. Just that they have a lot of experience. Don't see this from a lot of other programs. It's just that a lot of older guys on this team, and we can see that the experience has definitely come into play here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially when we talk about players on our team, Jason Shukuluk definitely needs to be mentioned, because on the season already, he has 4 goals, 3 assists, and 13 shots in all. So he's just been a beast in terms of shooting for our team. And then our 2 goalies are doing amazing, with Mitch Butler specifically having 11 saves on the season and not allowing any goals. And Seth Wilson having saving 8 goals this season and only allowing 1.
And it's just created some really exciting action to watch. It's crazy thinking about how we haven't had the best success in some of the other sports here, but Akron they're ranked 2nd in the country right now, and just it's I guess this is kind of cool, being able to watch a team that we think is being really good, and they even they're even able to show it, being ranked 2nd, not just us seeing it, but just all the other teams around seeing the dominance that Akron's been able to put on. And it's clear that moving forward, the Zips they're always in the they always find a way into the postseason. They're always in the NCAA tournament going at it. Last season it ended not really the way we wanted to. I mean, they lost in the Western Michigan game. They lost the MAC championship. And then, from there, they got a couple red cards that kept, it was Shukuluk and Cleopatra, I believe, out of the Pittsburgh game. And it just kind of left a sour taste in their mouth. So I just feel like, from that, the Zips are, out for revenge. And I know Coach Embick he's not the type of guy to, settle for it. He's gonna continue to drive this team. All these players are gonna continue to show out and show up every game. And I feel pretty confident, this might not be, maybe not necessarily be the year they go all the way, but I feel like it's going to be a very interesting finish to the season. Do you have anything else to add on the soccer team?
Especially with the fact that they're in a new conference.
Oh,
I think the fact that they're holding their own against these teams that they've never even played before shows that they're just a very strong team no matter who they're playing.
Yeah, and definitely you brought up completely forgot that they transitioned from the MAC to the Big East here. And, it just seems like even the transition, you would expect in a way for it to be, a little choppy, a little rough transition. But it just seems like they've made this transition pretty effortlessly, pretty smooth. And it's, it's even hard, like I said, I just forgot we even switched. They're playing so well. It's just, I guess we just, I forgot that even anything's been any different from what we've seen.
Yeah.
So I think that'll about wrap it up for the men's team. We're going to take it into our second commercial break, but when we come back, we'll be wrapping up the show with coverage on the women's soccer team. Stay tuned.
You're watching ZTV.
Welcome back. We're going to wrap up the show today talking about our women's soccer team. So let's take it over to Katie and see how they did in the recent matchup against Buffalo.
What's up, everyone? It's Katie Bomber here with the ZTV Sports Report. Today I will be covering everything Zips women's soccer. In a thrilling matchup on September 21st, the Akron women's soccer team took on the Buffalo Bulls in an intense battle in First Energy Stadium. Both teams displayed exceptional skill and determination throughout the contest. The game kicked off with both teams demonstrating speed and precision. Buffalo came out strong in the first half, plowing through Akron's defense. At the 15th minute, Ariana Zappano assisted Katie Kroon to sneak one by Akron's keeper to get them on the board early in the game. Akron's goaltender, Sarah Bower, was coming off a season high of being MAC Defensive Player of the Week, alongside MAC Offensive Player of the Week Emma King. After some great defensive stops by both teams, around the 24th minute, Buffalo's Leah Wengender assisted Katie Kroon to sink another shot to the back of the net. After a dominant offensive half by Buffalo, Akron headed into the locker room, trailing the Bulls 0-2. Akron came out strong in the second half, but had a difficult time executing against Buffalo's defense. The Zips were in control for majority of the second half, but late in the game, Akron's Ella Hadley missed a crucial shot by sending it wide left. Throughout the game, Akron's goalkeeper led the team with 3 saves, and the Zips recorded 6 shots in the setback, 1 of them on goal. Akron faced 18 Buffalo shots, 5 of them on goal. After a few more shots off the post and some critical fouls committed by Akron, the Zips fell short of the Bulls 2-0. This is Katie with the ZTV Sports Report. Go Zips.
Thank you, Katie. Well, Megan, it was another tough loss for the Zips here. Just what have been your thoughts on how the women's team has been so far?
Yeah, so unlike the men's team, they just really have not been playing cohesively as a team at all. I mean, they have only 2 wins this season so far, and the first win they played Niagara and they beat them 1-0, and they had 15 shots that entire game. So like in that game, they look like they're playing really well, but they just can't really carry the momentum from one game to another. And in the Buffalo game specifically, Buffalo had 12 shots in the first period and 6 in the second, and we only had 6 in the entire game. So I think we just need to start playing a lot better on the offensive side, because for defense, our goalie has been doing really well this season. Sarah Bauer has 27 saves, but obviously she can only do so much. So
yeah, I mean, it's just with the way the women's team has been playing, not exactly the way we want it to be, but in terms of the Buffalo game, as you were talking about, like we really have to give it to Buffalo though. They're sitting atop of the MAC here, and just they clearly showed it in this game, especially Katie Kroon here with she had 7 shots in the game, 4 on goal, ended up scoring 2 goals in this game. It's just like they clearly showed that they were the better team in this game and why they're the top team in the in this conference to begin with. And it just in terms of Akron, it's just kind of been as we were talking before this, it's kind of been similar to what we saw earlier with the volleyball team. It's just that the volleyball team, they had 6 wins so far, and they only won 6 last season. This women's team has they have 2 wins. They only ended up winning like 3 at the end of last season. So they're in terms of the overall season, they're trending upward. it looks, on the pace they're at, that they could grab a couple more wins and, slightly improve. And I sure hope that, that's the what's going to come here. And I'm pretty optimistic about that, just with the team they've been putting out so far, with Jen Simonetti coming back in her second year, much like we saw with volleyball and we saw with football. Just newer systems, younger teams coming into play here. And we had Ella Hadley coming back here, Morgan Pence, Sarah Wynn, Katie Stafford coming back. She's now the captain of this team. It just seems like as this team, much like every other team we've talked about, it seems that as they continue to play, seems that they're going to kind of click more, because as you mentioned in the Niagara game, they had like 15 shots in that game. They seem to be getting a little more aggressive. It seems to show that way. Their defenses seem to step up this year, and it feels like again things are trending in the right direction. And I just feel like we're gonna maybe not make the playoffs, maybe not that big of a jump, but I feel like the season's is kind of about slight improvements. So, any other thoughts on the women's team?
Yeah, I think they just need a couple more wins under their belt to just feel like more confident as a team as a whole. Mm-hmm. And if they can get those, I think they'll be really well set for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. So that'll about do it for this first episode of the ZTV Sports Report. As always, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ZTV Sports, and on YouTube at ZTV Sports Report. I'm Zach Leininger.
And I'm Megan Williams.
Thank you for watching, and go Zips.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.